It's crunch time in the semis of the fantasy baseball playoffs. It's time to add players that are going to push you over the top. I got 10 names that you're going to want to add on today's action packed episode of Locked On Fantasy Baseball.
You are Locked On Fantasy Baseball, your daily fantasy baseball podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, fantasy baseball fanatics, and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Baseball podcast, brought to you by Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. As always, we're your number one source for fantasy baseball knowledge, and thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. I'm your host, Matthew Ane. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to hit that bell below to subscribe to the channel and give you a notification every time we drop a new episode. Also, if you're listening on Apple, Spotify, wherever you're getting that audio source, make sure to hit that subscribe button, leave a 5-star rating and review. It really helps out the show. This episode is brought to you by Hour Energy. Enter a chance to win a dream golf trip for two to any golf tournament in the U.S. Visit 5hewin.com for full rules and entry. No purchase necessary. Excludes Masters tournament. Ends October 31st. All right. I had a great episode for you. I'm going to be straight. I'm taking a little bit of a new approach, and I think we're going to have a good time with it. I got 10 names you're going to add this weekend to really put you over the top. I got 5 hitters, five pitchers, like always, that I think we're going to really roll in. Some names that are a little ugly, some names that are going to be, essentially, why are we even talking about this guy? Or, it's kind of an ugly start, but hey, it's going to get us over the level, and I'm going to help you guide you through why I'm adding these guys and what it's going to take to just get you over the hump this weekend. So let's dive into it with one of the ugliest names I've got in the world, and that's Brandon Pfaadt, the Mr. I Pfaatted. So, Brandon Pfaadt, somebody I'm not really like a, big too keen on over the last, year and a half. Like, he hasn't been living up to the hype and the expectation that we had for him coming up in the bigs. And Pfaadt has kind of pretty much disappointed in a lot of ways. But as of late, he's been really good. And a lot of the underlying stats support it versus the total month outcome. If you really look at like his month stuff, things haven't been great. Well, here's the deal. His next start is coming up against Minnesota on the 12th. I like that start, for instance, just right off the bat. His last start out against Boston, which Boston still is a good team, hit on them pretty nicely. 6 innings, got the win, 7 strikeouts, a 1.50 ERA, and a 1 WHIP. All great things. Now let's look at a little bit things a little bit differently, right? So we got we're gonna look at Brandon Pfaadt's just underlying stuff. He's getting strikeouts just over the last 2 weeks at 26.1% of the time, which is an amazing rate. It's a little bit above, average. But what he's doing amazing is he's not really walking guys. And you mix those two together and you actually have a path for success. Then you tie it in with his Sierra, and that's sitting at 279. Right now, the league average is sitting at 395. So he's well under, and it's proving that everything together is kind of forming and culminating good outings and quality outings that are repeatable. Along with that, his FIP is looking amazing. It's at a 111, along with his XFIP sitting at 2. Everything's great. Producing ground balls. I always talk about how I like when a pitcher produces ground balls, leads for more success. He's doing that at 45.5% rip. Everything is looking good. Everything is looking like everything is repeatable. Even the home runs, the fly ball rate, it's just been awesome at 0%. Guys only barreling against him over the last 2 weeks, 3% of the time. The BABIP's super high, but it's still everything else is super sustainable at this point. I'm going to be okay with it. And I think there's some positive regression going with the LOB percent, which is left on base percentage, right? He's at 66.7%, which means he's just, either guys are letting him get hit a little bit more, like he's not getting himself out of trouble, or the guys just aren't being left on base as much, but more like he's just not getting himself out of trouble. And that's really just as simple as it gets. And I think there's going to be some positive regression in that. I think Pfaadt's next start with all the underlying stats that say, hey, this is repeatable for me. And I'm going to trust him to go out there. Him being 56% owned, I think is a great shot. I mean, granted, too, it's coming on the 12th, which is in 2 days, which is Friday, right? And this is how you kind of got to approach it, right? Pfaadt's been super inconsistent over this year, And obviously you see it by the stone cold numbers that we see for even over the last month of just his ERA being absolutely imploded. I'm starting him. I think that it's a very good um, start for him. And I think that on top of that, I think there's going to be a path to success as I laid out. But ultimately, if you have some hesitancies and you think your ERA is in a good spot and you're winning in that category or you're doing well in points, then maybe you don't roll him out. But if you're it's just completely blown up, you need a last ditch effort. Fod is a great start. I think again, I'm starting him no matter what, in my opinion. But if you want to go on the safe side, you have good foundation of ERA, then don't start him. But if you don't, you just need the K's and possibly a little bump. Great. Also plays for Diamondbacks. You're not going to get a win, but who cares? I think everything else about him is going to be just fine. So I'm going to start Fott again. 56% on starting pitcher for the Arizona Diamondbacks. So let's move on here. Let's talk about TJ Ginn. JT Ginn. I apologize. Plays for those Oakland. I want to say Oakland Athletics. It's Las Vegas Athletics. He's 6% owned right now, and it's kind of fun. So his next matchup comes against Cincinnati at home for him. Now, honestly, the Parks at this point is not like he's playing in Oakland, where he really had the good support of the great park. He still plays in AAA park, so things are still a little bit risky. But Jin's been good. Um, in his last outing at least. So his last outing comes up against the Los Angeles Angels. 5 innings, 5 Ks, a 1.8 ERA with a 1 WHIP. That was good. And Angels, they are showing a little bit of power, also not consistency though. But they can't hit the ball around a little bit. He has been rocked around, so it's another risky pickup. But I think there's a lot of stuff that supports a good performance going out there. And quite honestly, too, I'm just looking at a few things that just really bother me about, you know, for instance, why I'm willing to start him at least. You know, Ellie De La Cruz has been absolutely horrible as of late, and he's the biggest and scariest bat in that lineup. And yes, others have been, succeeding, and we're going to be talking about one later in the show. But I still think it's going to be a decent start out there. And I'm willing to start it again. His start comes later in the week as well. Here, hold on real quick. I'll get it for us again. His comes in on the 12th as well on Friday. So again, it gives us some time to make preparations whether we want to start him. But here's my supporting argument. All right. So we look at Jin again, right above average in terms of K percentage. Walking guys only 4.4% of the time, which is great. The Sierra's at 282. The FIP's right on about league average, but still great at 387. The XFIP is actually at 262, which is awesome. So these all support that the ERA of what he's been doing over the last 2 weeks should be better. And that last start, maybe a little bit worse, but still performing well, being that, again, he went out there and had a 1.8 ERA. And then you look at how often he's producing ground balls, which is absolutely fantastic. Something for success, 61.3%. So that's great. And his home run to fly ball ratio is actually kind of ugly, in all honesty. It's 25%. So again, this is a little bit more of a riskier pick up and play, because he does have the potential to give up a home run, especially in that park. So I'm just going to be careful with starting him. Again, he's one of those guys, is more of a let's just see how my ERA is and take that risk, unless I'm truly just desperate. But you know, guys are only barreling about 9.7%, which still is a little bit on the batter side, because league average again is 8%. But I still think it's okay. BABIP's okay at a 276, and left on base, I think percentage is about 65.2%. I look at it like this: he's either going to get himself out of trouble or he's going to give up that home run. Risky start, but I'm willing to roll him out there in a pinch. I think he's definitely worth a peek, especially them deep leagues where you don't have many options on that waiver wires. That might have to stream yourself to victory and manufacture that win. Jin is definitely that. 8-man, 10-man leagues. It's a desperate play. But in 12 mans, I'm considering it, and anything higher, obviously, I'm rolling. Or it then becomes where he becomes relevant for you to pick up, because he'll be a difference maker in those matchups for you. But coming up next, I got 3 more pitchers that I think I'm going to be able to roll through a little bit faster. And I'll tell you about Slade Cecconi and Michael Lorenzen, as to why I think we should be adding them, and how they're going to be able to get us a win and manufacture that win over the weekend. That's all coming up next. Time to fuel up and turn it up with 5 Hour Energy Transfusion. This grape ginger lime flavor shot brings the iconic taste of golf course favorites to non-alcoholic boost. Perfect for sinking birdies or making great memories with friends, it's a hole in one for your energy game. Whether you're out on the course or just need a little bit of an extra push to power through your day, 5 Hour Energy Transfusion delivers the clubhouse flavor you love without leaving the green. Golf is all about good times with good people and good flavors. The grape and ginger lime flavor of 5 Hour Energy Transfusion gives you the best part of the clubhouse. Go without leaving the course and chasing down them bev carts, which I normally do anyway. Now you can amp up and your fun with even more and buy a snap and enter a chance to win a dream golf trip to any golf tournament in the U.S. Tee up that trip. Visit 5hewin.com for full rules and entry. No purchase necessary. Excludes the Masters tournament. Ends October 31st, 2025. The NFL season is in full swing, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with you can't miss offers. Right now, new customers can bet $5 if your first bet wins. You'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love FanDuel. It's becomes it's the best for everything. Honestly, my player props, build the same game parlays, and even jumping into live action unfolds. Right, it's absolutely great. Makes every game more exciting, whether you're watching your team or just keeping an eye on your fantasy lineup. It's quick, easy, and the best way to add a bit more energy to Sundays. So, are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app and now visit fanduel.com to get started today. That's fanduel.com and place your first $5 bet. All right, look, we offer this thing called the Insider Track. It's a lot of fun. We give you a whole bunch of information that we can't fit in this 30-minute podcast. And as you see, I have a whole bunch of stuff I'm throwing at you, and there's even more. And that's going to help you win. You want to know which prospect is going to be called up that can give you the edge going out there this next week, be the first one to the waiver wire? You're going to want to get in there. You want to have start set questions? Dom and I will answer them for you. It's all in there. Links in the description below. Let's get back into it. All right. Like I promised, Slade Cecconi, my guy, playing for those Cleveland Guardians now. And I think he's going to be a decent start. He's 13% owned. And I've looked at him pretty heavily. And I'm thinking this next start is going to be pretty good. Going to be against the Chicago White Sox on Sunday. White Sox, funny enough, seem like, matchup busters. You think it's going to be a good game, and then out of nowhere, they just light up a team. There's nobody there, too. Montgomery's really just the guy that's just been cranking the ball like crazy as of late. But Slade Cecconi, I think, is a great start. Went out and handled Kansas City last outing on the 8th, went 8 innings deep, got a win, 3 Ks, no earned runs, .5 whip. Excellent. Start before that wasn't pretty. I mean, Boston lit him up, but he managed to get 8 Ks. And that's the part I like. He was able to go out there at least and even though he got smacked around, delivered in the strikeout department. Again, this is Sunday play. So again, mind your expectations, but these are streamers. And a lot of these guys are going to just have impact for Ks, and maybe they go out and improve your ERA. They could also implode your ERA, and Cincinnati has the possibility of doing that. Now let's look at what we can see on the horizon and how we could best predict his outcome going up against the White Sox, one of the worst teams in the league. 19.7% strikeout rate, which is looking great. Only walking guys about 3.9%, so that whip is going to stay nice and low. K to walk rate is about 15.8%, so that's right on par almost with league average. Sierra is looking at 370, which is a little bit better than league average and is going to prove success. The xFIP is sitting at 333, where the FIP is sitting at 407. Now, they're similar but different. The xFIP kind of just takes out, a little bit more. And I usually kind of sit in between. If all three are within average or above average, I tend to lean with more in the middle of a little bit above average than just above average. And right now, that ERA indicator tells me good matchup. FIP's kind of backing it up, and good strikeout percentage, along with not walking guys, tells me that there's going to be a good start ahead for this start. On top of that, he's producing ground balls, 50% rate. That's fantastic. He is literally backing up the FIP and this last performance with, hey, guys aren't going to crank them out on me. and I'm going to be able to produce ground balls, which means easy outs. So ERA should be intact against the White Sox as long as he keeps his 50% rate or something similar to it. Home run fly ball, he is giving up home runs. It's 18.8%. It's definitely well above the league average of 12%, but still, even with this, who on that team is really going to scare me outside of Montgomery? Barreling against him is a little bit on the higher side. Again, home run possibilities, and ERA blow up. Hence why he's a Sunday start in a last minute decision. BABIP's pretty good though at a 273. I'm okay with it. And he's not really leaving guys on bases, unfortunately. That one's also a little bit low. But again, you're playing the White Sox. I think it's a good matchup. I think that he's a great streamer. And again, you don't have to decide till Saturday night before you pick him up or Sunday morning if you have same day ads. So I am starting Cincinnati. I think there's going to be an overall good start. And I think it's going to be a great streamer for the week. And Cincinnati now. Okay. Let's move on. Let's talk about Michael Lorenzen. Lorenzen, honestly, he's a guy that like I tend to like usually stray away from, but this next matchup specifically is going to be a tough pill to swallow. He's out here because he's just delivering on strikeouts for me. And that's really this. He's going up against Philly. So this is a true, my ERA is completely annihilated. I'm rolling him out there. If not, it is what it is. Philly's cranking the ball. Even without Trey Turner, you still got a whole bunch of guys to worry about. So this is going to be a tough matchup for you to just say, hey, I'm rolling him out there. Be confident. Low priority guy for me. But let's look at what he's doing well. Striking out guys at 22.2% of the time. Not really walking guys, 2.2%. Sierra's sitting at 330, which is fantastic. The xFIP is at 339, whereas the FIP, you know, how his ERA would be if he had an average defense behind him. Essentially, in a little bit more of a predictive set is at 561. So again, volatile kind of ERA indicator. The other two are screaming, hey, it should be a lot better, but not so much with the FIP on its own. Careful, but he is producing ground balls at 50% of the rip. Again, able to give up home runs, 33.3% home run, the fly ball rate. Something that I'm kind of like a little bit more scared of it. Again, Sunday scaries of whether you're going to be able to start him or not. It's up to you. But I will say this, he's getting himself out of jams at well above an average rate. Like there is some negative regression coming. Could it be the start? Possibly, but who knows? Again, Sunday start 81.6. If he was closer in this like mid 70s, I'd feel better about, you know, whether the regression is going to go positive or negative. I mean, a more negative. And again, this could be a very bad start. But if I get 5 to 6 strikeouts out of this matchup, which is usually what I'm seeing, right? Against Minnesota, 5 strikeouts, against the Angels, 5 strikeouts, against the White Sox, 6 strikeouts, against the Texas Rangers, 6 strikeouts. That is what I'm looking for in my stream of the week, essentially. So at the end of the week, that's all I'm trying to get. Let's move on. Let's talk about Ryan Nelson. Nelson is playing for those Diamondbacks as well. And Nelson has been serviceable this season. I will say this. Or Nelson, I apologize. I don't know why I'm saying Nelson. Nelson has been, sorry, I'm just getting this up, has been up and down all season long, but this last 2 weeks, he's been solid as hell. 18 innings pitched, 13 strikeouts, a 2.5 ERA with a 0.94 whip. Everything's looking good through the 18 innings, and those come against Boston, which is a good team, and the Rangers, who can hit the ball, and Milwaukee also, the start before that, cranking it out, and he's looking really good. So those are like key things going on, and then you look under the hood as well, and he's creating strikeouts about 19.4% of the time, obviously under probably a K per inning in most starts, which you're seeing, right? Especially like the last Milwaukee start. The last start against Boston, 6 innings, 3 Ks. But he's not really walking guys either, 6% of the time, which is good. So the whip stays low. You know, K to walk ratio is 13.4, so definitely not mad. You know, FIP is sitting at 381, XFIP at 398. Sierra's not as hot. It's definitely above. So the stuff is a little bit different in those aspects. And I kind of will say, yeah, we might have a little bit of a struggle a little bit, but at the same time, everything else is kind of proving to be a good start for him. Look, producing ground balls at 40%. Home run to fly ball ratio is at 10.5%, which is actually pretty good. He's only allowing guys to barrel at the league average at 8%, which actually is pretty solid. The BABIP's at 229. And left on base is definitely above average, right? There's definitely some negative regression coming at 84.5%, but I'm still willing to roll him out there because I think this start is going to be pretty decent for him. Again, going up against Minnesota, good matchup. So I think we can roll him out there with confidence. That's going to be on the 13th, which sorry, that's Sunday. The other ones are Saturday. Going to be a good start for him. I think I'm rolling him out there, 47% owned. Add him and start him. Coming up next, we're going to switch over to the batters, and I'm going to move a hell of a lot faster, but they'll be coming up right after this. You've probably seen millions of ads for hair growth products and thoughts. Sure, like that actually works, right? There's so many products out there. It's hard to know which ones actually are going to do anything, right? That's why you should give Nutrafol a closer look. Nutrafol is the number one dermatologist recommended for hair growth supplement brands, trusted by over 1.5 million people. And it's not just a hype. This is a supplement that's clinically tested that targets the root causes of thinning and shedding with proactive approach. Whether you're at work or out with a friend or even just getting ready in the morning, Nutrafol gives you more confidence in your daily routine. And it makes you feel good about knowing that Nutrafol is an NSF certified and backed by peer-reviewed studies. See thicker, stronger hair with less shedding in 3 to 6 months with Nutrafol. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering Locked On MLB listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com and enter the promo code Locked On MLB. That's Nutrafol.com, promo code Locked On MLB. Let's get in this. Let's move a little faster. And this is on me. I keep saying I need to move faster, but I do. Tyler Stephenson is Cincinnati Reds. He's owned 23% of the 23%. And honestly, we all need a little catcher boost. I'm sorry. Unless you have like an elite catcher that's really cranking it, it's time to stream. This is the time to do it. Okay. We're in the playoffs. Who cares about, who you got there? If you're in a redraft league, especially, you're not taking them with you. Stream the hell out of the position, especially when it comes to bats. Here we go. Tyler Stephenson, I think, is right on the precipice of blowing up. Right now on the last week, two runs, a bomb, 4 ribs, a batting 200. Sure, he's just returning from injury, I might add. And here we go. Underlining stats on him is actually speaking volumes. In all honesty, here we go. So he's only striking out 18.2% of the time, mixed with only walking 9% of the time, which is really good. Those two together tell me, hey, we're having great play discipline, which is going to lead to making contact on the ball. So ISO sitting at 400, which is great. Barreling 25% of the time over the last 2 weeks. Okay, power is coming, especially since he hits and Great American Hitter Park. I'm loving it. Plus, he's playing the Athletics over the next couple of days, which is almost like hitting in your own stadium. So awesome. Creating hard contact 37.5% of the time over the last 2 weeks. Amazing. My only problem is how often he's hitting ground balls. But with the way he's barreling and the amount of hard hits he's doing, I think we're going to see some positive regression in that. He's fly balling about 25% of the time. That needs to go up to start seeing the power, which I think we will, based off the other two stats. Let's bring it in. The slug is sitting at 600, along with the X slug at 848. So that means there should be more power, more doubles, more everything in terms of him seeing production out on that field. All this looks great. Plus, his OPS is sitting at 873. So he's getting on base. What does that equate to? We're going to see a blow up soon. So if you have an underperforming catcher right now, replace them with Tyler Stephenson, unless you have a high elite guy that you just have to ride it out with because they can blow up and have way higher upside. But Stephenson can crank power. We all know the guy shows off power. I am totally okay with rolling him out there. The guy hits home runs like crazy. I can't wait to see it happen, especially over the next couple of weeks, a couple of days. I think this might be the start of something. I'd rather be on the beginning of it and catch the full benefit versus getting in halfway and then possibly just missing the whole run. So Tyler Stephenson is a must-add right now. Let's move on. So about Josh Bell. Josh Bell playing for those, what do you call it? Spit it out, Matt. Washington, right? Washington Nationals. And Bell, who's been in the league forever, has been really good over the last week. Now, this is one of those, okay, we're buying in at the peak. But I feel he needs to be added. He's only 9% owned. Okay. Over this last week, 6 runs, 4 bombs, 13 ribs, batting 350. Now, this could be the tail end, but I think there's a little bit more left in the tank. Bell's striking out only 7.5% of the time, walking 10% of the time. Fantastic. ISO sitting at 371. He's barreling 21.2% of the time, mixing that with hard contact of 60.6%. Those two together indicate power is going to continue. He's cranking the ball and he's putting the ball in the air and creating fly balls 51.5% of the time, mixing that in with a slug of 657, but an expected slug of 827, which means more power, more production, more counting stats. In addition, his OPS is at 1,000, 1.007. It's fantastic. All this leads to more production for you in points leagues, because doubles and triples, on base. This is good. This is all positive stuff for Josh Bell that we need to add now because everything is telling me this is not the end of his run yet. If I would have saw, less barreling, that percentage down, and a way higher ground ball rate, and seeing those things mix along with him striking out more, then I would have said, hey, we need to pump our brakes. But right now, everything is kind of saying, hey, Josh Bell still has a little bit left in tank. Not much, maybe just pretty much the end of the weekend. We're going to readjust by the end. He's the guy you want to stream for the next couple days. Let's move on. Let's talk about Parker Meadows of them Detroit Tigers. And Meadows, obviously, I like him. He's a young guy, finally up here, and doing his thing. Now, let's get into it. Over the last week, he has 3 runs. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, 3 runs, 2 bombs, 5 ribs, batting 444. Even as I'm recording right now, he has 3 runs, a rib, batting 500. The batting average is continuing. He's getting on base. These are things that are positive. I want to get in on this. Him being 6% owned, I feel like he should just be more owned, especially in those deeper leagues where he's going to be able to play 12-man leagues, stream over the weekend if you have some guys underperforming. And Parker Meadows, everything is just supporting it. He hasn't really been striking out. He's 0% over the last 2 weeks, walking 18.2% of the time. Great plate discipline. The ISO sitting at 667, mixing this in with the barreling 22.2% of the time, creating hard contact, which I would like to see a lot more, 22.2%. Maybe the power might dip a little bit, but he's barreling enough where I think when he makes the hard contact, it's going to take advantage. Ground balls are starting to come up 55.6%, but I still think there's a little bit left in the tank because the fly ball rate is at 33%. A little bit right under league average, which still produces something. The slug is at 111, is 11111. Fantastic. Expected slug still at 807. So still expecting more production from him. And the OPS has been bonkers. 1657. So if you're playing in OPS leagues, he's absolutely crushing it for you. He's walking like a monster. He's really good for points leagues. Counting like for head-to-head rotos and roto leagues in general. If you're not playing in like double triples or walk ones, you're not playing in an OPS category, I might not add him right away or even at all. But right now I think he's a safe bet for points leagues and streaming him in those regards. Let's sneak in Ivan Herrera, catcher here. So he's been a guy Dom and I've touted all season long. I love Herrera. He's just been riddled with a whole bunch of injuries this year and hasn't really been able to play and be healthy. But he already cranked one as a recording, over the last week. Now, including today, 4 runs, 2 bombs, 3 ribs, and batting average I think is on the rise. Okay, 1-for-1 already. First hit, ready to go. Ivan Herrera is really starting to show off. Only striking out 7.7% of the time, walking 11.5% of the time, which is great. Meaning, hey, I'm not striking out. I'm going to be at the plate. You're either going to walk me or I'm making contact. This is great. ISO's at 318, barreling 14.6% of the time. This is phenomenal. I think the power is starting to surge in the right direction, mixing that with 53.7% hard contact percentage. You're going to mix that with the rising barrel and the hard contact. These are all great with the dip in the ground ball coming down to 34.1%. The ball is going to start taking off along with the fly ball percentage hitting at 39%. You mix that with the slug that's at 591, which should be rising because the expected slug is at 766. You mix that in with an OPS of 956, which is telling you he's getting on base. He's doing exactly what we need to do, and he's going to start crushing. It's funny to have 2 catchers on the show that I think are actually going to pop, that could drive you to victory and get that edge at that onesie position that nobody ever cares about. these two names between Tyler Stephenson and Ivan Herrera are the names you're going to add. I think we're on the precipice of both breakouts. I'm seeing it now. There's a lot of stats that back that a positive regression is coming. Add them now. Don't hesitate. Guys, thank you for hanging out with me. So make sure to like, subscribe, comment, rate, review, do everything you can to share this show because we truly love bringing it to you each and every day, making us your first listening each and every day. And for your second listen of the day, check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long. Get your local analysis on a national scale. Find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast. Peace out.